What's up, everybody? Man, when I was growing up, my dad used to ask me every time I was getting ready to buy something, son, is that a want or a need? And today I can honestly say this is a need because I grill often, several times a week most of the time. And if I'm not cooking it here, I'm cooking it on the smoker. I just enjoy cooking. I like trying new recipes for this channel. So this is a need for me. Now, did I need this specific model? I don't know if I needed it or not, but I sure wanted it because of past experiences. So we're gonna dig in and we're gonna look at some of the past and we're gonna look at the present and look down the road to the future. So I've had a Char-Broil in the past, and I found it because I was in a rental vacation home and they had one, and I thought, back then they called it the True Infrared series or something like that. But anyway, I enjoyed how it cooked, so I bought me one and I've been very happy with that one. So let's go and have a look with that. All right, so here's the old one. I've had this since approximately 2018, and I will just say this up front, in all honesty, this is how it sits 24/7. That being said, let's look at it. The lid and everything's still in excellent shape. I mean, it's stainless, it's steady. The only thing, you can see the inside here. And now, first thing you're gonna notice is I have grill grates on here instead of the original grates that came with it. I'll discuss that in a little bit, but the cabinet, the door's nice, it's still in good shape. On the inside, it's pretty much in good shape. The only thing about it is over here is there's some rust down here at the bottom, I'm sure, where water has pooled and everything. And like I said, I've not used any kind of cover. And now, as we take off the grill grates and look inside, you'll notice something else, and this is the emitters. Now you can kind of see why I'm using those grill grates. I replaced these this emitter plates a few years ago because the other ones done the same thing. They rusted out, and I will attribute some of that to being out in the weather and not properly caring for it. There's some rust here on the edge, and then I'm going to take these out and let you look down in the bottom. Now, down in the bottom, it still looks pretty good. I just try to clean it out a little bit for your benefit so you can see what's going on. These little deflectors are still in great shape, just a little surface rust. The burners have never been replaced. They're in great shape still. There's a pin rusted out back here. As far as the box itself goes, it's in relatively good shape. It's got a few rust spots around, but overall, I have been very happy with this grill. And like I said, a lot of this rust and stuff's from my own neglect, and I'll admit that. But now let's get into talking about the new. Now, as you can see, that one's seen better days, but now let's focus on the new one and what all the features are and everything about it, and see if it's the right grill for you. Okay, so let's take a look at the exterior right quick. As you can see, you've got it's stainless on the top there, stainless over here on the sides. You got a stainless door, and then you have metal right here, so just painted metal. So as we come to the side, you can see it's not stainless on the sides here. It's painted metal there, and then the same thing here. So pretty basic cabinet. You got two big wheels on the back there, and you got a couple small casters up front so you can roll it around your deck if you need to. And then you have a pretty good sized knobs. Like I said, mine's a 3-burner. And what sets the amplifier apart from other grills is this right here. These they call them emitters or something like that. And they got all these small holes here. And then if you look, we'll look underneath this in just a second, and you can see how the rest of it looks. But then you put the grate on top of it. You line it up over top of the holes, and the grate is cast iron wrapped in porcelain. Now, for me, that's kind of, based on my old one, that's kind of a weak point because You have to be careful with this porcelain coating or it'll chip and break. On my old one, these rusted, and the ones I replaced it with rusted. And like I said, and that could have been to my own lack of care for it or whatever. So just be mindful of that. When you're cleaning, if you probably take care of your grill better than mine. So, okay, now let's dig on deeper. So as you can see, you got your burners underneath the emitters there. And the cool thing about the emitters, this stuff here is, it really distributes the heat evenly. So it'll spread it out all across there, and you don't really have hot spots like some grills have and things like that. And then like if you're using the griddle option, from right here over, that all comes out so you can slide your griddle in. You'll see that in a little bit. All right, now, so as you can see, this right here, I've already been cooking on it. Stick around to the end and you'll see what I prepared on it and my thoughts about that. It comes with this little fork device, and basically all this is to scrape out the gunk around your grates and your emitters. It fits on those as well. It also comes with a warming rack up here at the top, or you want to rest some of your food up there that's already done while you're still cooking up a little bit. That's a good little feature. Most grills have that. You can see it's got a temperature gauge on the front here, and the way I look at these gauges is they get you in the ballpark. I wouldn't go by that exclusively. I always use a quick read thermometer on your meat and stuff like that. Okay, the handle has got this little piece of foam on it. I don't know how well that's going to hold up, but it looks like underneath it it's the same material as this. So if that does come off down the road, it shouldn't be that big of a deal. One of the small tiny cons is these hooks on the side for your grilling utensils. They are a little bit wide, but if you've got the big wide hooks on your utensils, it's not going to be an issue. It'll hang right there just perfect. None of my utensils are that wide, so I'm probably either going to get some S hooks or put a leather string through them to hang them on there. So that's tiny. That's not a big issue at all. I like the sturdiness of the tables over here, and I like the fact that they're stainless. You can prep on the side if you need to or whatever, and they're easy to clean. Now these wheels are plastic. I wouldn't go rolling this across the yard like a four-wheel drive. I don't know how they would hold up under that kind of application, but to roll around on your deck or your patio or your porch, that's probably going to be sufficient. Okay, as you can see, you can hang, mine came with the griddle accessory here, and there's a little bracket up here that it'll hang up on to stow it out of the way. And then over here beside of it, there's a little area you can put your grill grates in there while you're using the griddle. All right, this is what it looks like with the griddle installed here. You just take out those two grates that's on this side, and it still leaves you a little bit of room over here to, if you want to cook a little something on this side while you got something on the griddle. So there's that little feature. There's our propane tank, and a nice touch is there's a gauge on there for your gas. That's a nice handy thing to, when you start getting low, to be mindful and have another tank ready or go ahead and get it refilled. One of the things that's different about this grill than others, since you have these emitters, that a whole stainless thing down there below the grates, you can't really see the burners and the flames. This is where you have to use your ears and pay attention. And I'll show you another way to tell. You can hear the gas when you turn it on. It's kind of hissing, and then boom, you heard it. You can listen for it, and that's a good indication when you hear it do that. And then if you're still not sure, if it's noisy outside and you can't hear whatever, you can come over to the side, turn on one of the side burners here, and then you'll come, there's a little hole up here, and that's hard to see, but you can look through that hole and you should see some flames in there. I don't know how that'll show up on the video, but you've got that little hole that I see some flames. But that's another way to check to see if it's lit. So while we're talking about lighting it and everything, if you don't see a flame, if you've determined that it didn't light, and turn the gas off. This is important. And wait a few minutes, because if you go around there and you hit that button again and all that gas has been building up under those emitters, I can promise you it's gonna go boom, and it's gonna scare the mess out of you, and it might catch something on fire. So that's a handy dandy tip for you. And you can ask me how I know that too. No, I don't. But anyway, I always turn the gas off, let it reset for a second, let it air out, and then start the procedure over. All right, I'm out here, done the burn off of all the stuff and cleaned the grates already after getting this thing out of the box and assembled. And this is the first test on here. It's nice and heated. I mean, I'm only doing the right hand side, so I've only got on two burners here.
So as I run it through the paces, as you can see, I've got pork chops on, and they turned out really nice. And then I moved over to, later on, I cooked some steaks up, and they were nice and juicy, and I even threw some meatballs on, and I enjoyed those. And then I went over to some hamburgers, something with a little more grease in them, because you can't have a grill unless you have hamburgers. And they turned out perfect, nice little char marks and all that. Then I really got adventurous and put on some bacon wrapped chicken tenders. I figured if anything was going to flare up and catch on fire, it'd be bacon. But it turned out perfect. Everything I tried turned out great.
Of all the food I tested, everything come out perfect, just like I had hoped it would. Just like the other one performed really well. I was happy with everything I cooked on it, put nice char marks on it. You know, you got to have the pretty marks on it and make it a good steak, right? But anyway, I don't know if I'll use the griddle that much. I know they're trying to compete with Blackstone probably to have a griddle option there. I doubt I'll ever cook eggs or anything like that on it. Not saying I won't. As a blue collar guy, this was a significant purchase for me. But man, I tell you, I love it. And what I've seen so far, it's a great product. Based on the experience of my old one, I knew it was going to perform before I even bought it, just because it has basically the same design. So I'm all about that. Like I said, it does have some cons, I guess you'd say, or some flaws in my opinion, or things that could be better. But man, the good really outweighs the bad, you know, as far as I'm concerned. I can replace those grates and things like that, and I might even switch them out to grill grates. If you do decide to get this grill, I've made a separate video on how to assemble it. The assembly wasn't that hard at all, and in fact most places like Lowe's and Home Depot and things like that, they'll assemble it for you. Shoot, they'll even deliver it for you. So if you have that option and you can afford it, go with it. Most of the time the assembly's free, but if you end up buying one in a box, look in the description. I'll show you how to put it together piece by piece. And it's a longer video, but I'll walk you through everything that I did to put this together. Until the next time, go gather some friends up, throw some burgers on the grill, and may the Lord bless you.